Okay, next we have Xmas Attack or Christmas Attack. So what this is basically the scanning of a host. All right, we're going to fingerprint, quote unquote, that host, and to help us tell what type of operating system or what type of kernel perhaps they're running, right? What type of system that is. So every operating system, whether it's Windows, Mac, Linux, different flavors of Linux and so forth, each of them respond differently to this type of Xmas attack or a Christmas attack. So what we do is we use a specific application like Nmap, or there's a number of them out there that can do it, but Nmap is one that a lot of people consider their tool of choice. It can initiate an Xmas attack, and basically it will send a certain number of flags within the TCP header information. So it will send or turn on a certain number of flags, okay, the urgent, push, and fin. These three specific flags within the TCP header information, okay? So as you can see, all of these ones and zeros are kind of like strings of lights in a Christmas tree. So if you turn some of these things on, they light up like a Christmas tree. We're lighting up those specific ones. That's kind of where it gets its name from. But what it basically does is allow us to determine if the system's up, potentially what services it's running, and what operating system it's running. Now, where this becomes especially useful is the fact that when we're sending these specific flags, it doesn't really trigger a SYN attack. So a lot of intrusion detection systems and so forth are designed to detect ping sweeps and when people are trying to actually sweep our system and do a full intense scan of the system. But when you do an Xmas attack and you're certainly just setting only these flags, you're not actually getting a response back from the system in the traditional way that an IDS system would pick it up. It allows it to fly under the radar lots of times. So that's why these types of attacks are especially troublesome if someone's able to launch that against your systems. So as you can see here, I used Nmap, and I went and basically put in the IP address of my router. And what it does is it scans, and you can see where it went through and scanned. It got the public key, the MD5, and the SHA1 hash of my specific key for my router. It came back with a MAC address. It tells me what version of Linux it's running, what version of the kernel. It gives me a good guess of what the uptime is. So it gives me not only host information, kernel information, also IP address information, and then whatever services may or may not be running on that specific device. So if I were to do an entire scan of my network, it might have 15, 20, 30 devices between all my kids, laptops, iPads, iPhones, and so on and so forth, right? We have a number of devices. So if it goes through and scans all of those in a home network, you'll see all the different services and what's running what. If you do it in a corporate environment where you have thousands of devices or thousands of hosts, you're going to obviously take some time to go through all of this process, but it's also a bit of a no-no. So unless you have explicit permission from the company itself, I would not suggest running these types of scans on the network without proper authorization.